Welcome, guys. Welcome to Just Everyday People. My name is Laolu Jesusbaby. I am your host. Thank you for tuning in. So today, I have a great episode for you. I will be interviewing one of my best friends, John Johnson, and he's going to be speaking to you guys about his journey thus far. He's going to be telling you what he defines as purpose, some of the steps he took to get to where he is today, and he's really just going to be sharing, his life and his framework with you guys. So I really hope you guys pay attention. If you need to watch this video again, please do, and really just take something away from this, really to develop yourselves. So yes, please enjoy the video. So welcome to the show, John. Lovely to have you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. Thanks
Awesome.
for the invite and the opportunity to break bread. Well, literally.
Yeah, yeah. Don't worry. We have a lot of time to get into all of that stuff. But yeah, thank you really again for showing up. So yeah, shall we get into it?
Sure. Excited.
Awesome. So maybe you can give people a short background of your journey so far, or maybe from from what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to talk briefly on purpose. My name is John Johnson. I work as a technical coordinator for one of the house builders in the UK, a national house builder. I work as my day-to-day role involves providing technical support to the construction team and liaising with all the consultants.
So you kind of work as an architect in some ways.
I can't call myself an architect because their name is actually patent. I call myself an architectural technologist. So we're working alongside architects. So yeah. So they go a different route to us. So yeah.
Okay, awesome. Do you do anything else? Maybe out in the community, or you just?
Yes, I'm involved in my church. I serve and worship with the Breath of Life Church in Bournemouth.
Okay.
And major motto is bringing life to our communities. So we're a heavily youth church because we have 2 universities in Bournemouth.
Okay.
And I work as the head of a choir, and also head of the youth group too.
Awesome.
And then I assist with the technical department.
And so you're pretty much a jack of all trades. You're involved in everything.
I try. It's all God's grace and strength, It does get a bit challenging at times, but God's been faithful over the years. So yeah, it's been a fun experience.
Awesome.
And those skills and those opportunities have shaped me to who I am today. So yeah.
Awesome.
Thankful for the opportunity. Yeah.
It's amazing. So yes, again, as you see, guys, I bring people to you who are not one-dimensional, who have a lot of things going on. So this is a man who works in the industry, who works as a architectural technologist.
Let's just call it technical coordinator.
Technical coordinator. Okay, we'll give you that. Yes. Technical coordinator within the industry, but then he's also very much involved in his community, with the younger people, I guess, within the church, within the worship, and some technical other aspects as well. So yeah, so this is someone who I really want you to learn, to take as much as you can from. So yeah, we have some questions here that we're kind of going to run through. So how did you get in? How should we start the question? So could you give us a brief history of maybe your upbringing, where you're coming from, and maybe how you got into some of the courses you studied?
Okay. It's a very good question. I think in my late 20s now. I've been through a lot of experiences in terms of trying to navigate the course of trying to determine my purpose.
Okay.
I originally from Nigeria. That's where I was born and grew up. Had most of my childhood there.
Okay.
And moved over to the UK. Been here about close to 15 years now. And always remember from a kid, I was always fascinated by, aircrafts.
Okay.
And obviously it's something that in Nigeria, it's usually limited to just the wealthy in Nigeria,
Oh,
like the
okay.
ones
There's a
that build
social class of
aircrafts.
people who are more
Yes,
likely to
yes,
go into.
correct.
Okay, I got you.
Yes, and I think that was one of my fascination with just in terms of aircraft. So my initial dream as a child, if anyone asked me, was I wanted to be an aeronautic engineer.
Oh, okay.
And
Okay.
when I came over to the UK, that was my first pursuit.
Okay.
But then along the line, I discovered that my strong points were not in terms of mechanics or physics and all the mathematical calculations.
Okay.
I did have a technical mindset, but not as the demands would usually require for aeronautics and fluid mechanics or whatever you want to call it,
Okay.
fun stuff as people call it. But yeah, so did that and did that for a year and didn't really like it too well. And then I switched courses,
Okay.
and I think that was a pivotal moment in my life because it was. So like, does that mean that I've been pursuing the wrong thing for such a long time?
Okay.
And like, does that make me a failure? I mean, even though I've always had this passion, even when I was back in Nigeria. But I think it was a learning experience for me. And one of the points in terms of finding purpose, which we'll talk about later, it's about being flexible.
Okay.
We have skills. God has put so much within us. He's put so much within our this vessel we call self or flesh, and it's. I do believe we're capable of doing whatever we want to do.
Okay.
But there are certain passion and there are certain likes that like that will be like, oh, I can do this, but I love doing this. What I mean?
Okay.
I can put my hand to this, and yeah, it will be successful to some extent.
Okay.
But I'm passionate about this. There has to be that clear distinction.
So there is a drive that. So you're trying to say, a lot of people have a lot of skills. Most people have a lot of things that they can do. Correct. But then there are few things in which that they have a unnatural passion or a natural or something that they just have this this desire for. So the idea is to try and find out what it is. Okay. Okay.
Okay. During the path of discovery, I don't want anyone to beat themselves up or feel their failure when they try certain routes and it doesn't work out.
Okay.
Because it's just like you've just known something that you're not meant to do.
Okay.
You get what I mean?
Okay.
So it's like, okay, I've learned over the course of the journey, I've learned this, I've learned that. You know what I mean? I've picked up certain skills, transferable skills.
Okay.
And now I've discovered that, this is not really for me. You know what I mean? So I can then, okay, on to the next option.
Go on to something.
Sometimes like people might feel like, I'm not saying that, you should do something for 10 years, like, you know what I mean? And then you don't find out all of a sudden you don't like it, and then you feel like you wasted a decade. I'm talking about like, like you would know within the space of a year, within the space of a year and a half. That
okay. So self-reflecting and self-assessing your current situation to find out.
You always constantly have to evaluate yourself. Okay. You always have to constantly, look like, self-evaluation, like, how's my happiness?
Okay.
You know what I mean, like, do I feel the sense of like, do I feel complete at the end of the day after going to work? You know what I mean? Like, am I being effective? You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you've been in certain jobs when you're like, you're counting down the time.
Yes,
yes. And then sometimes when you're doing some certain things which you really like
time is gone and you don't even notice it.
That's the point. Yes. And that's where we, as believers or as people first, need to get to. A place where, like, it's just like, whoa, this is amazing. Like, where you're doing something and you don't even feel like, if you don't get paid for it, as long as you're meeting someone's or you're satisfying someone's needs, or like you're serving you're being a solution. Okay, that's all you need.
Okay. Okay.
So,
okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think maybe let's step back a bit. So in your journey, you said you had some pretty clear idea of where it is you wanted to do. You know, you had an affinity for, I guess, aircrafts, and so on. What would you say to someone who feels like they don't have skills, or feel like they don't really have that outstanding thing that is, that I guess was driving you, that they feel like they're just kind of swaying, they're just kind of, okay, I mean, I find myself here, so okay. So what would you say to someone who is still struggling to find that passion, so to speak?
Yeah, in terms of with those that are struggling, I would say one of the things you need to do is seek counsel from people. So
Okay.
apologies if you see me looking this way. I'm looking at my screen because I'm making some notes and stuff like that. So I'm just trying to try and be concise in terms of the discussion. In terms of people who are struggling to find a purpose, I'd say number one is to seek counsel from people.
Okay.
I'd say ask for help. It's something that cannot be understated.
Yes.
And sometimes we need to be able to go on a discovery.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, you need to be able to explore certain things, expose yourself to certain elements that will kind of like, cause these things to stir up within that God has placed within you. And if you don't go through that path of discovery, those things will just lie dormant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need to be able to expose yourself, and you need to be able to, sometimes put under pressure, because within pressure causes us to, it causes us to bleed, causes some certain things to come out of us and unveil certain traits. And that's the way we can, are you going to either suppress to or succumb to the pressure, or you're going to step up to the mark?
Step up.
Or you're going to grow up to it. So I think that's a certain element which you need to do. And
that's amazing. Sorry, just not to cut you off, just to add to your point, because as you were speaking, I was thinking, if there are there are people in a different social class, people who have a lot of money, have a lot of opportunities, and the thing about these people is they provide their children with a lot of opportunities. So they're likely to send them to summer camps. They're likely to maybe put them in swimming after school, or maybe give them gymnastics, all these other things. And the idea really is just to expose them to, okay, do you think you may like this? Do you think you may have an affinity for this? Do you think this is something you may want to do and take up as maybe a further career? Do you understand? But then the thing is, I guess when you don't have as much money and really all you're thinking about is, okay, I need to provide for my children, or they need to be clothed. I just need to make sure they're good. As parents, it is also something that could be to their detriment if all they are doing is just being at home. Do you understand? And they're not really being exposed to, different occupations or different areas, and they're kind of just being left in one place. So I think that's something young parents, as well as younger people as well. So the idea here, what we're trying to say really is, get involved in a range of things, in a range of places. Find yourself in different societies, and then you never know which one it may be. Sorry to cut you off, bro. I just wanted to just touch on that.
No worries. And just to back off on that point, which you said in terms of, let's not try and blame our parents because they didn't really know too much. From the way they've been brought up, I think we're in a fortunate position where we've been exposed to certain things.
That is true.
When you go to secondary school in the UK, they're like, oh, you need to sign up for this sport or join this when you go to university, or the different societies.
Oh yes.
Which you can tickle your fancy, whatever. And that's the way you can usually find some of these discoveries, even though you're doing a course in university, where you might find out, actually I prefer something,
maybe the arts, maybe I prefer dance, I prefer
photography or something like that, and those are the ways you kind of discover and go on the journey of discovery. And I think also sometimes it might be difficult for people to be able to begin or even stay committed to this discovery if they've always been in the same place, if they've been with the same specific
group, yes,
and if they've had the same information being fed to them, it's almost, I'd say it's almost impossible, but extremely difficult for you to be able to to go on a phase of discovery if you don't have if you don't revolve or if you don't evolve as a person. And I think it's sometimes we need to step out of our comfort zone.
That is
You know,
true. That is true.
in terms of like like if there's if you know, like coming back to the performing arts, if you know that all your 5 friends, they don't want to hear anything about art, but you know it's something that when you watch certain programs or
You
certain
analyze
movies,
it differently.
and
You see
you
things
analyze it
differently.
differently. Yeah, you see it, and you're like, why am I breaking? Why do I have this concept to be able to see these things that people don't see? So that might be an invitation to your purpose, and then there's no point to you sitting and and festering on the same thing, but you need to step out. Okay, if all my friends don't have anything to do with art or not related enough, who can I speak to? You know what I mean? Who can I connect myself to? What groups on this? And I think this is where I can speak on behalf of LinkedIn, places like LinkedIn, where you can have a bit of professional networking. So if you're not on LinkedIn, join LinkedIn.
LinkedIn.
I mean, yeah,
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, LinkedIn.
Okay.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Sorry, IN. Sorry, yeah. LinkedIn. It's a professional platform, and you can kind of join certain societies or groups that are linked to yours. You can find people that that in an industry you're particularly interested in, and send them a link. Just send them a
little message, a little something.
Yeah, just to say,
asking for advice.
I'm passionate about this. Yeah. And I'd say 9 out of 10 times or 8 out of 10 times, the people would usually respond back to you. You know what I mean? Like, if they're even super busy, you still you still have to probably push through. But I think that's something. Just step out of your comfort zone. You know what I mean? And we can't overstate the importance of prayer. And asking God to direct you. And also strengthen your relationships, because it's always key to to be able to nurture relationships which you have around you. And don't be I think it's a issue or a challenge within our Christian faith, because a lot of us try to group ourselves with other Christians. We tend not to, like, if we're talking to unbelievers, it's like, oh no, like they're not gonna, yes, they might not have the same spiritual background as you might have, but they might not believe in the same things you believe in. But on that level of communication, you can still be able to relate with them, and they can pour certain things into you, and then you'll be like, I never thought about this before. So like, never try and limit your
so it's really more about broadening out and making sure you're interacting with as many people who think differently, and then you just to really get a better scope of where you would like to go. Okay, awesome. This kind of leads me on to the next question. So we're going to come to some definitions later on, really, like, defining purpose and, maybe some of the things in and around that. But before that, I wanted to ask you, was there a point where maybe you got discouraged in your passion? And were there people around you that helped push you or encourage you towards it? Were there books you read? Were there people you were maybe watching that, I mean, if he could do it, then maybe I'll just, if he fell, and he kept on going. Do you understand? So maybe in your, I guess, leading up to maybe you going to uni and deciding you wanted to change, did you get discouraged? Is there something that kind of knocked you off? Or how did you, keep going and find out where you wanted to go?
Yeah, sure. I think that's also a very important aspect of, in terms of pursuit of purpose, or in terms of our discovery of purpose. There will always be opposition, and there would always be people who don't see things from your own perspective.
Oh yes.
I mean, like they're like, why do
you
like
this?
Talks,
too many talks.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. So like, and then I know this might be a bit crude of me to say this, but some specific career decisions people make, or some specific professional path or career path which some people focus on, they only usually look at it from a short-term point of view. and I think it's something that it's crippling within our society, in terms of the like the black and ethnic minority. So
Okay.
we need to start looking at, like, in terms of our choices, in terms of the courses which we pick, or the certain decisions, career path which we pick. Are there any transferable skills in there? You know what I mean? Like, because I think in terms of with the 2020 has been a challenging year for everyone. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes, it has.
it's literally flipped the status quo for, like, career development,
Oh yeah.
in terms of course choices, because then you're like thinking that, raw, like, some industries, I want to, like, to those that were thinking that, or it would there would never be a time when there wouldn't be any flights going.
Yes.
Who would ever think that?
Yes.
Did you get what I mean? Like,
But then
it's
there will
like,
be a certain industry that can never be affected, no matter how bad
yeah,
things get. For example, the
yeah. So,
healthcare. Mm-hmm.
but I think it's in terms of, I'm not just saying that everyone should just go be doctors and
Oh, okay,
nurses
okay.
now.
That's not what we're saying here. Yeah, yeah, true, 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 true.
That's not what I'm saying. But it's just having a long term view on your career path is always important. And I mean, yes, it might not be at the early stages, the salary and the incentive might be low, but, like, if you put in the effort, and if you commit yourself to continuous development, you would step up the ladder, And
So, are there any personal, like, stories you have of maybe discussions you had, or maybe times you were feeling down, or times you felt like, is this really worth it? And then maybe something happened, or someone spoke to you, or someone encouraged you, and then you kind of maybe overcame it.
Yeah, I'm a great believer of songs.
Okay.
I think that is my my musical inclination.
Okay.
I listen to uplifting songs.
Okay.
Like songs that like the likes of Kirk Franklin. Some
Okay.
of his albums.
He's amazing.
Where you then discover, like, the story behind the songs, and you're like, raw, like, okay, if you're able to come through this, I can do it too.
Okay.
And I'm not. Okay, I'll raise my hand up. I think I'm in the group of people that are not the strongest readers.
Okay.
Or I consume a lot of messages, sermons.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, one of the guys I listened to was it's a podcast on Spotify. I think you guys should check it out. It's called The School of Greatness.
School of Greatness. Okay.
Yes, by a guy called Laolu. So I think he used to be a semi-pro footballer back in the days.
Okay.
So he then comes on this show and then interviews, like, millionaires,
Okay.
people, CEOs of companies. He interviews, like, like he's interviewed Kobe Bryant, the likes of Kobe Bryant.
Oh wow. What's his name?
Laolu.
Luizao. Okay. Brazilian defender. I feel like I may have.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
okay.
not a big American. Yeah, but, like, if you check it out on Spotify, it's called The School of Greatness.
Okay.
And I think it's doing probably about hundreds and hundreds of episodes.
Okay.
Covers relationship. He's interviewed people like the likes of Devon Franklin.
Okay.
Like, and big names, and, like, like, it's a good way when you're not at that level, but to be able to see and be able to, like, be like a fly on the wall.
Okay.
Of, like, like CEOs, and they talk about the problems and the issues and the challenges and the way they overcome them. And I think that podcast, I think if I had to put my name, a finger on certain, I'd say it's one that has kind of inspired me and opened my eyes to, you mean, like, you need to dream bigger. You know what I mean? And some of the discussions we used to have. So yeah, I think that's one. I can't stress Bishop, the great Bishop T.D. Jakes.
Okay.
I mean, there's a man's sound, in terms of the business world. So I'm a big advocate, in terms of his sermons and like, just in terms of his public speaking.
Okay.
So it's one thing to go into, and just I consume a lot of information.
Okay.
Like, in terms of like world events. I mean, I'm not saying watching news, because some of them are all
Yeah, it can be quite depressing, to be
and
honest.
stuff like
It
that.
can be quite depressing.
In terms of, like, listen to, like, like debates, open debates on certain topics, and I think that kind of, like, stirs you up and keeps you motivated.
Okay.
And I think, yeah, those are the things that like, it's, like, everyone is different. You need to find out what methods or, like, what things you need. So yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much, bro.
You're welcome.
So, I think let's kind of let's hone in on purpose and the idea of purpose now. So, can you for for the benefit of this discussion and for the benefit of some of our viewers out there, can you define what purpose is? Because because I think that there's some people, and a lot of these people are quite career oriented, and they feel like your purpose is to be, for example, a doctor, or to be a nurse, or to be a bricklayer. So they think you have to study and study and study and to be the best bricklayer. Do you understand? So I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not saying this is your definition, but I'm saying that a lot of people who are academics and follow those paths, they seem to feel like their purpose is tied to, I guess, their title or their occupation. So this is really just a clear up, just to have a better understanding of what you would think your purpose is. So please go ahead.
I think I do think there is a difference between a job and a purpose. I think a lot of people conflict it because it's like a job is, I get paid, 9 to 5. And once someone shocked me in terms of when they said like, your employer always gives you what he feels is your value in
what
time.
What you're worth.
What you're worth.
What he thinks you're worth.
That is never be thinking that is the definition of your purpose, because your purpose is greater than that. You know what I mean? Like when the Bible talks about, like in Jeremiah 29 verse 11, the plans and purpose God has for us. You know what I mean? Like it has to be bigger than that. You know what I mean? Like even before the foundations of the world, God had written volumes of books for what we would do. So then I'm not going to allow that height to be defined by someone's evaluation of my skills and my talents. Do you get what I mean?
Okay.
So that I think you could, starting off with that question, there has to be a clear distinction between a job and a purpose. And I do believe, in my own understanding of a purpose, my purpose, I believe purpose is working in your God-given mandate, in the things God has revealed to you. Because I do believe that God has put so much passion, so God has put so much skills and talents within us.
Okay.
And when we then start to uncover these things, and then we start working within them, that's when we develop our purpose. And yes, you can find out your purpose through your academic pursuits.
Okay.
Or you can find it through the relationships which you have with people, because they uncover certain things within you that you might not see. Like you might just look at like maybe you might be doing a mundane task with someone, and then like there's you. I mean, or maybe if maybe me and you're doing exactly the same task. Okay, maybe someone says, "Oh, you guys wash up these plates."
Okay.
And then I see you, and then you are like like with the care. And like carrying the plates, you're washing it, double washing it, triple washing it. I'm like guy, it's just a plate. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But like the puts into it, we're kind of like you're not taught that first of all. And I think that's a clarity. That's a distinction which we need to make. It's just the type of things that you just feel like, why do I have such a aptitude to do the most on this certain thing.
Okay.
And I think that's a great distinction for you to be able to know that, okay, yes, I think this is giving me, I'm not saying this is your purpose, but this is giving me
it's possibly in line to maybe helping me discover.
It's kind of putting the spotlight to something which you might need to be able to develop more on.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so do you know your purpose?
Yes, I do know my purpose.
Okay. Do you think it is important that we find out what our purpose is?
Very, very important.
Okay.
Because you can't, coming back to the point I made, if God has written so much for us, and if God has great plans for us, it will be a shame or disgrace not to fulfill those purposes. Someone once said that the richest place on earth is the graveyard, because there's been a lot of people who've not been able to fulfill their purpose, be it because they've left and they've allowed people to speak down on them. I mean, they've allowed people to lead them.
So they've suppressed all that they were supposed to give.
Yes. but they have no like coming back to the point you made that like, they have not exposed themselves or gone on that discovery to be able to uncover the things that God has put within them.
Okay.
And yes, you can get those things from revelation. You can get those things from like people like identifying certain traits in you. Like coming back to the example I made, like you just owning this mundane task. You know what I mean? Like you're displaying skills that I'm like, guy, just
it's not that serious to some, but then to some other people, it is.
Yeah.
It is true. It's a way of life. Okay.
And that's why you need to surround yourself with people who can spot these things in you. Because sometimes you might be like totally blinded to it. And then it's like some people like some of them might just be like, like the way you do those things or the way you handle these things, like it's just amazing. I mean, it just has the touch of God. The Midas touch. And then you're like,
I didn't notice that. And then you start to Okay. Awesome, bro. Thanks for sharing. Thank you. So yes, another thing is a lot of people feel like if you didn't start well and you're already in this life, you're in this rat race, you're pretty much I don't know, maybe middle-aged, or you're at this point where pretty much you should have started or you should have done something and you haven't done it, then pretty much there's no point of you discovering or finding out your purpose. So this kind of is a two-part question. So for you, when did you find out your purpose? And do you feel like there's a time limit as to when it is you should be finding out, when it is you should be maybe working towards it, or like is there a cutoff point that maybe if by 30 years old you haven't found your purpose, then you're pretty much useless? But yeah.
Yeah. That's a very important question. I think if I tackle the first question, which you said, when did I discover the point I made earlier in terms of moving out from a certain position or like from a certain location, and then exposing yourself to certain things. I think that's when I exposed when I moved from Birmingham to Bournemouth. And I was I joined a really small church. I mean, they were growing, and like.
So wait, sorry. Just for context, could you kind of describe where you were and what you were doing in Birmingham, and then when maybe some of the differences to where you were and what happened in Bournemouth?
Yeah, I don't think it's in terms of Birmingham. It's I think I've lived there for 11 years. I went to university there. And it's just what like when you just get used to the area. And there isn't a lot of opportunities. There isn't a lot of potential. Yeah, there might be a potential to develop, but I don't think you don't have the right platform to be able to do it. And when I then got my first job post uni in Bournemouth, obviously it was totally the other side of
down south.
Being able to find make new friends. I mean, go to a different church. See the way things are being run on a different level, and expose yourself to the society. The mindset of that area, the economical, stability of the area. Then you're like, I mean, I need to do more for myself. I need to move up the ladder, to be able to live a comfortable life. Because Bournemouth is quite an expensive place. So, and then for you to be able to do it, you can't do it on some of the jobs that you like in terms of the salary equivalent or what you would do, the things you do in Birmingham. You can't do the same thing in Bournemouth. So it's like it's a different mindset. And then also my faith was also very important for me too. Identifying a church where I can worship, and the church leadership were quite flexible. They give people the ability to be able to grow in whatever talent God has
That's an
given
important
them
word.
and skill. So it might be like even though the person might not be the best or the gifted, they give the people the right platform. There's some churches where you go to, it's like if you can't do 10 scriptures, or if you can't do,
then you're not ready.
Then
just put it to the
you're
side.
not even gonna get a chance. But even it was always that message of it's always the willing heart. Someone that is right with God, someone that has God's spirit within them. As long as you have those things within you, then why are we stopping you back from showing forth or developing the skills? Because then when would you ever get that opportunity?
That is true. When do you get to perfection, to a point where it's okay, now you're ready?
Yes. Now you're ready. Who tells you that? So and yeah, that just kind of encouraged me to, just to develop myself even more.
Okay.
Come out from my comfort zone, step out, take
Okay.
on more responsibilities. And I think, like that kind of like, then linked to my purpose in terms of like, I'm quite passionate about the youths,
Okay.
especially about the university students. I have a number of mentors and
Okay.
mentees, sorry. I
Okay.
also have mentors too. So
Okay.
I don't think anyone is ever too big to be able to grow.
Mhm.
And then in terms of the second part of the question which you asked, in terms of like, can a person ever be too old to be able to discover the purpose?
Mhm.
Or like, what I mean, or like, I don't think there's never a time as, there's never an age limit to it.
Mm.
I mean, like you look at the likes of Abraham in the
Mhm.
Bible and
Okay.
Sarah. When
Yeah,
did
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah,
have
yeah, yeah.
Isaac?
Mm.
I mean, like,
Mm.
they waited so long for the promise when
Mhm.
God had shown Abraham.
Mhm.
What I mean? And even over the course of the Bible, you see people, God used people of different ages,
Mhm. It's not
and
just the young.
that,
Mm.
yes, yeah, yeah. And one of the Bible verses also like to challenge the younger ones. I think it's in the First Timothy 4 verse 12, and it says, "Do not let anyone look down on you because you are young,
Mm.
but be an example for the believers in speech, in your conduct, in your love, in your faith, and in your purity."
Mm.
So like like when people always tell you like, "Oh, you're too young" and stuff like that, what I mean? Like wait until you get to a certain age.
Yeah.
No, what I mean? Like nothing is stopping you from getting. If you see if there are certain issues which you feel like your parents or your friends I know working towards.
Mhm.
For example, if it might be in terms of their finances are not in order,
Okay.
you might be the change. There's nothing stopping you from
In speaking up,
yeah,
and
from the age of
highlighting it.
16.
Mm.
Yeah, starting to not to even trying to highlight it. You can start doing it yourself.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna, what I mean, I'm gonna make sure my life is different. I don't want to have
Oh, okay.
I don't want to have credit cards. I don't want to have
Okay.
high loans.
Okay.
I mean, I want to have a financial stability.
Mm.
So from a young age, you can start doing it, and it's always important for people to get into the work environment really early. Because I
Okay.
think that's something that's really helped me in terms of, because I was working from the age of 16.
Ah,
I mean, like I was
okay.
doing like 17, 18. It's always good to
Mm.
start early.
Mhm.
Like even though it wasn't my purpose, I was working at the football stadium,
Ah, okay,
serving
okay.
drinks and food and hospitality.
One of my
So
first
that's
jobs was
where-
working on a racetrack, on the go-karting track.
Yeah, so
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
see what I mean? So
Mhm.
we all have these opportunities to be able to develop ourselves.
Mhm.
I think those kind of early stages of development
Mhm.
are quite crucial.
Mm,
And I
yes.
think even some of the things that have helped shape us today.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't mind doing like 12 hours a day because I've done that when I was 16.
Oh yes, yes, yeah. Because you have that understanding.
mentality,
You have
yes.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I've had the experience. So, for example, if I'm telling someone that's never worked in their life, I'm going to uni, did it like finished really well, and then all of a sudden you're giving them a 9 to 5. It's going to be a struggle for them.
Oh, yeah.
That's why I always recommend students to also go on placement too.
Placements.
I mean, if you have the year for the placement, do it because it's going to gives you so much
It's
value.
invaluable,
Because,
guys.
right,
It is invaluable.
can't-
You need
you
placement
can't.
because they will ask for experience, and if you haven't worked up until then, it doesn't get easier. It doesn't get
Yeah.
easier. Mm.
Yeah, definitely. So I hope that answers the question in terms of the second bit of like you're never too old to still work out your purpose. And I think the purpose also evolves because depending on your strengths too. Because like there are certain things, I'm maybe in my late 20s now, but there are certain things that, I'm like, boy, I don't think I have the strength for. You know what I mean? So people in their 40s would be like, dude, you're 28, I'm like, and then when you get to the age of 30s, when family kicks in, you know what I mean, responsibility.
Oh yeah, true. Because then you're in different seasons. You're in different seasons,
Yes.
and within each season,
Correct.
it's like there are things you feel like has to be done, and then there are things that you feel like the Lord has put on you that in this season you have to do this. So it's how do you juggle these things? Because life is still going on, and then there's a purpose that you have to to fulfill. Oh, bro, thank you for shedding light on that. I really do think that would help a lot of people because I speak to a wide range of people. I know someone who is, how should we say, maybe about late 30s, early 40s, and they feel like up to their point they probably don't know their purpose. Now, me looking from the outside, and I feel like they're working in their purpose. But they would say that they feel like they're too old to try and find out their purpose, because it may mean that they have to change their whole lives around. They have to completely do things anew, maybe to accommodate something else. But I'm thinking, listen, how you've been living your life, a lot of the skills you've developed is in line with, maybe some of your passions, and because you've been doing things you want to do. It's not really because you just have to do it. So you developed yourself to a point where, okay, because this person that I'm speaking of now is involved in so many different things that is helping their community. So this person is invaluable to their community. But she feels like, at this point, I don't feel like, when we start putting labels like purpose and stuff, I don't feel like I'm doing enough. So let me just not even bother trying to find it out. You understand? But yeah, I think your response would definitely help encourage some people. So yes, this kind of is a two-parter. How certain are you that you are walking in line with your purpose? Because again, a lot of these things, it's hard to be 100% certain until the end. Because I'd imagine at the end is when you find out that, okay, this is what I put in you. This is, everything that I know that you should be doing, or you should have done. So that's when we'll know at the end. So how certain are you that you're walking in line with your purpose, and you're not like copying someone else? You're not modeling your life to live over someone else. So that's one. And the second one is, as you're a man of God, how do you feel like your faith has played a part in you discovering your purpose? So I'm not sure how you'd like to answer this question.
Tackle the questions. I do believe, or I have enough assurance within me that I'm working within my purpose and fulfilling my purpose. And I think I can only define the success by myself, if you understand what I mean.
Okay.
Because I'm not looking for validation in anyone else.
There you go.
That's something that we always get it wrong at times, because like we might be fulfilling our purpose, but we're so excited because we want the validation of other people. Yes, it might be good, you know what I mean, but like who, you know what I mean, like we should be focused on pleasing God. That's what it should be. And I mean, like if God has told you, you know what I mean, my son, I want you to, work with this youth group. I mean, and yes, no one might be able to see the impact, but you are pouring so much into their life that you're setting them for the next stages in their life, that when they get to, it's the words which you poured into them that they're like, sharing out to other people. So by you reaching out to 5 people, pouring your life into them, pouring your time, your resources, your advice, your counsel into those 5 people, they now have gotten those things. They can reach 5 other people. So you know what I mean? Your reach has already spread, and you're just thinking, oh,
I didn't really do much.
I've done anything.
Yeah.
Yes, you know what I mean. So it's a matter of looking within. As long as you have that that satisfaction within, that I'm making a difference. I'm making an impact in those people around me. Then I do believe that and I have that confidence that I'm making changes in people's life, or through the help of the Holy Spirit. And and also people being able to listen to your advice too also is a good indicator. I mean, like when you speak to someone, and the way they take on the advice, and their remarks at the end of it can kind of like give you that not go to your head or whatever, but like, okay, at least I'm doing something to help their life and to improve it.
Okay. And yes, the second part is about your faith. Would be, so how do you feel like your faith has impacted your purpose?
When I was preparing for this, I know you sent some of the questions before, and I think one of the things I wrote within my within the notes was that my faith is the fuel to my purpose.
Woo!
My
faith is the fuel to my purpose. Okay.
Yeah, because it's when I looked at when I was reviewing that question, I was then thinking back to like the childhood, like the Christian camps we used to go for, people always tell me like, you know what I mean, like, or you always finish like people's Bible verses, or like you always someone saying the Bible verse, you're already completing it.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, it's those kind of grounding which I had from my childhood, and that's helped, you know, me to be able to move into my purpose this time, and being able to be in a or being positioned or located in a healthy community also helps too, because like you're a product of what you surround yourself.
Oh yeah, that is true.
And if you're in a place of people that are like, oh, you know, quite deflated, not motivated, it will be quite hard for you to even, because then you feel like you're gonna outshine everyone.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. And then everyone starts to pull you down because you're the one that wants to make it through.
Yeah, no one wants to be that person. No one wants to be like, you know, the first person that does it. Yeah, if you're in that position, yeah, step out. I'm not saying don't step out, but like, yeah, that might be a sign for you to, you know,
okay, you
change
never
or
outgrown
switch up your environment.
surroundings.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I think also being surrounded by great leadership too is always also key. You know, I can't understate, you know, being able to shadow great leadership. One of them is my the pastor for the church in Breath of Life.
Okay.
You know, just in terms of it's just exemplary, whatever the word is. It's a great example.
Exemplary.
Yeah, it's a great example, like, you know, like a lot of the youth in the church, in terms of the young professionals, you know, he's a family man, he's a pastor, he's a, you know, he's a lecturer pursuing his PhD too at the same time.
Wow.
I mean, like, it's just like doing, and also doing his own business on the side too.
Wow.
And, you know, it's such a,
so it's a great example.
Yeah, it's a great example. So yeah, if you can have those kind of, like, you know, and then also an assistant pastor which I have in our church too, and all the church leadership, like, you know, it's just like, and then being put within that circle of people, there's no way.
Yeah.
No way
That makes sense.
You want to sit back and not do anything, and even then they will task you with certain things. You go like, oh, for this project, I want you to do it, or this idea which you have.
So they challenge you as well.
Yes, definitely. You have to have people that challenge you. I mean, one of the indications is that if your life is too comfortable, that's a problem.
Woo!
It is a problem, because it's like, I'm not growing.
Yes.
When you're living from day to day, you're like, okay.
And it's like, okay.
Yeah, there's just no challenge. You know what I mean? Like, I used to remember my days used to be hectic. I used to drive 45. I used to drive an average a day, 80 miles to and fro from work. Wow. And then you can imagine, and then after that, we then had, you know, like services in church.
Okay.
And then trying to drive back to, you know, to get to church and finish the service. And then you're doing the same thing. And I also was part of a local football team too, who trained and played on Saturdays too. And then you also
you were busy. You had your hands in a lot of things. Just making sure.
Doing my own business on the side too, and, you know, like, it's just like so much. Well, those things, like, I can do it now because I don't have no kids. I'm still single at the moment. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? I'm not married yet. And, you know, being able to have those chance to be able to, you know, like,
develop your skills.
You know what I mean? Develop my skills. You know what I mean? Like, run the race. You know what I mean? Like, now I have the time to. And I think it's a challenge to all the young ones, the single ones. You know what I mean? Like, coming back to the verse which I said previously, don't allow anyone to despise you. Yes, they won't despise you if you're doing the most. Or if you're, like, fulfilling your purpose, if you're running, okay, hey, who wants to do this? Pick me. You know what I mean? I'm available. You know what I mean? I have the time. Don't be spending time on social media. There'll come the time when, Netflix, how many...
It's going to be another social media. It's going to be something else. And it's going to be something else.
Let me even tell you, I'm getting old. I can't even watch more than 2 episodes in a row before I start falling asleep. You know what I mean?
I'm the same, bro. I am the same. Oh my God. It's true. We have different desires. We want something else that, like, it's not really just about tickling the you know, our senses anymore. It has to make sure it's if it's not intelligent, if it doesn't challenge me, then why am I really spending my time on this?
I'm sure you guys can see my PlayStation in the back. That's my PlayStation 4. I tell you how many times, like, I'm like, sometimes I'm like, I've never even used it in 2 weeks.
Wow.
What's going on?
Wow.
Did you get what I mean? It's just kind of things like, you're thinking that, I want to play all the games. You have time for that, honestly. you would have to.
There is a time and a season for that.
Yeah, there is. Focus on development of yourself. And I mean, learn new skills. I can't underestimate that. You know, I mean, learn new skills when you're younger.
Whew.
And work. Work.
Get your money. Develop yourself.
You know what I mean? Yeah, savings. Like, start getting into savings. Start getting into stocks at an early stage. Speak to people who've done it or that are doing it, and then they can advise you. You know what I mean? And then you can then make those decisions for yourself. You know what I mean? And then you find out that some people, they've lived up to 25 years and they've not been able to make a life-changing decision in 25 years. And it's like
how is that possible? Who has been making these decisions for you? And then this is someone who's possibly going to go into a workplace and be given responsibilities, and they still don't feel comfortable in making decisions. Or someone who's going to go into a marriage and have children, and they still don't feel comfortable in making decisions. This is when we see the snowball. Oh,
honestly, for parents that have young kids, expose them to so much. When you're going for a business meeting, take them along. I mean, when you go to the shop, when you're trying to negotiate, take your kids along.
Yeah, get them involved. Tell them to no.
Yeah, get them involved in it. And then they start asking questions. Dad or Mom, why did you do that? Or why did you say that?
And
they can then say, oh, this is why I did it.
It's amazing.
Parenting is such a beautiful thing. But
I can't wait. I'm
not parenting yet, but I'm so excited.
So final question, and this one is another one I got from the talks I've had with some of my friends. In this day and age, a lot of the things we see, a lot of what is projected onto us is the celebrity culture, is the Instagram life, is the billionaire life. And a lot of people feel like if you're not there, if you're not that, if in some ways, if that isn't your aim, then you are not fulfilling purpose. So I guess the question would be, do you think that everyone's purpose requires a worldwide stage?
When I saw this question, because you sent some of the questions this was the one I was like, you know what I mean, like, I kind of took a pause and I just said, you know what I mean, like, I looked at myself and was like, I'm on the world class stage. I was like, nah. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even there yet. You know what I mean? And to answer the question, I think not everyone is meant to be on the world stage. The world is small in comparison to the whole of the universe. Can you imagine if everyone on Earth was on the world stage? It would crowd.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's impossible because, like, the way I looked at it was like, you know, there are people who are needed to be helpers. You know what I mean?
There are people to be in the background.
Honestly, I was listening to, also coming back to the School of Greatness podcast. There's a guy they interviewed, I think his name is Patrick Bet something. He wrote the 5 a.m. Club. He's one of the ones that founded the 5 a.m. Club. It's like this
5 a.m. Club.
5 a.m. Club.
5 a.m. Club.
So this is like, so they're like a group of people, like CEOs and millionaires that always ensure they wake up at 5 a.m. every morning. Because they feel like you're the most productive at the early stages of the morning, because that's when your brain is not exposed to a lot of like external stimuli, and you beat the sun before it rises. You know what I mean? You have the 20 minutes for I think it's exercise, 20 minutes for meditation, 20 minutes for self-development, and then I think 20 minutes for, I can't remember the last 20 minutes, but they're
5 a.m. Club. You guys can go Google that.
The 5, go listen to it. And he was talking about, like, in terms of there are certain people that when they've been made the CEO, they struggled at that position, but they are fine as being the number 3, the number 4, and they're making 6-figure salary, 7-figure salary. But once they get to that position as being the CEO, it's too much pressure. I mean, there's too many eyes, there's too much accountable. But they are brilliant at being the number 4 or the number 5, and they will drive your business so productive. Or don't give them the CEO level.
So
Don't give them the level at the top.
Mm.
And I was just talking about that. And one of the examples which I was when I was reviewing the question was like, you take for example like the artists, the dancers on stage. Not all of us can dance or sing.
Okay.
I mean, there's a role to be played by the performers. There's a role to be played by the people who have
the musicians. Yes, the lights.
Yeah, you know what I mean? There's a place for them to be able to showcase their skills. So there are people that needed to be the observers. The people that are willing to that needed to be the spectators. I mean, and it's not everyone that is developed to be or that is meant to be on the world stage. And sadly, it's going to be a handful of us. And even for you being a black or ethnic minority, it's going to be even extremely difficult for you to be on that, worldwide level. And you just have to ask God to help you to be the best person you can be at whatever level you are at. You know what I mean? And I think that's the way it is. Yeah, some people might be destined to be worldwide, on the worldwide stage, but not all of us are meant to be. So, and it's also the same question when people always say, is everyone meant to be an entrepreneur? I don't believe everyone's meant to be an entrepreneur. I mean, I've tried it sometimes myself, and I'm like, I'm not really called up for running a business for myself. And I mean, like, the people that are meant to be workers, and and people are meant to be in salary jobs.
Second in command. There are people who are there to encourage the people who are there. There are people who are, honestly, I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. I do believe not everyone is called for the world stage, but this doesn't mean you're still not fulfilling purpose.
No.
So this means that you can love someone, you can encourage someone, like you mentioned earlier. You can speak to 5 people and impact their lives in such a way that those 5 people go and influence another 5 million people. Now, this is not to say that you haven't done your job, because you didn't directly influence 5 people, but this also means that you're also fulfilling purpose in the sphere you find yourself. But woo! Thank you so much, bro. I really do believe, there's been so much gems that you have dropped. And I hope you guys, really listened. Please feel free to watch this all over again. Watch this again and again, just to make sure, you can pull as much as you can from this. Because really, this is the essence of everyday people. We all have a little bit of knowledge. We all have a little bit of something that is working for us. If you can apply that, for example, waking up at 5 a.m., and then spending some time on your mental health, spending some time on really developing yourself. That can help like 20 people, 30 people. Some people can't wake up at 5 a.m. But the idea really is just to find little things that can you can add to your life and can really improve. So thank you for being with us, John. We appreciate you. Thank you for being another one of the everyday people. Hopefully, maybe in a year, in a couple months, we can have you back. I mean, why not? I'm sure you'll be in a different sphere, a different part of your different season in your life. So maybe you have a bit more to share. But yeah, bro, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Hey guys, thank you for watching that episode on Just Everyday People. I really hope you've learned something. I hope you have written something down, really to take back and really to work on yourselves to see maybe some of the things you can implement in your life to improve yourself and to get closer to working in and around your purpose. Really, we love making these videos. We love interviewing people really just to help you guys. So that's the heart, that's the core. So we hope you take something away from this. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This all helps us. If there are questions you have, for some of our next guests, please leave them in the comments below. We read everything. And hit the notification bell just to stay updated with every video we share. God bless you guys. See you.